Good morning, my friends. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your sleepy co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, for these morning shows is your co-host, Spaz.
And as usual, powered by caffeine, because there's never enough of it.
And there's never enough, especially this particular week. We just had the daylight savings time switch over here in America. We're still doing that, apparently, and it's the worst. Whether fall or back, whether going forward or coming back, it always wrecks me for a week. How about you, Spaz?
It's like jet lag without the fun of travel.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it, because your body's expecting you to be doing something else at this time, and so it takes it's like changing course of a ship very slowly for my brain. We have a guest this morning. I don't think I'm going to try to say your last name, Vincent. I'm sorry. I've been rolling it around in my head, and I don't think I'll do it justice. So, joining us from Freiburg, Germany, of Sonejo Studios. Did I say that right? I should have asked.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Vincent R. will say, because he told me how to say his last name, and I've been trying to go over it in my head, and I'm like, I know I'm going to mess this up. So rather than mess it up,
it's too early for you, Brian.
It's
okay.
too early for me. Rather than mess up someone's name, I'm just not going to say it at all. I think that's the better way to go. Welcome, Vincent. Today we're here to talk about your retro space adventure game SpaceNET that just dropped on Steam. Virtually, me at least, out of nowhere. Like I never saw it coming. But that's part and parcel with Steam anymore. It is like, oh look, surprise space game. Because there's like on average 30 releases a day, roughly. Because like I think I did the math in 2019. There were like hundreds of thousands of releases, and that ended up being like about 30 a day. So I give props to anyone trying to be a developer, a video game developer right now, because it's an amazing time, but it's also got to be a tough time. So, props to you for jumping into that pool and making this game. Folks, this is a retro adventure game that, if you're looking at the stream, to me, it felt like I was playing it on an Apple IIe in roughly 1985 or 6. What was that like something like the vibe you were going for, Vincent? Was that kind of like old, because it's monochrome, clearly? Like what was the exact vibe you were going for when you created this?
Yes, exactly. I mean, my first computer was a 486.
Oh, wow.
And I was totally, I don't know, as a child, I was fascinated by this two-color things, screen, and I don't know. And for SpaceNet, actually, it has another reason. Well, the reason is I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, I started learning programming, and I was looking for a good project, which is a lot of fun and to try around. And so I started a game, which was the previous one. And I didn't want to put so much effort on the graphics, because I wanted to learn programming, and I wanted to go into it. And so I decided to start with the simplest design ever, which I can do, but which looks good, and that was it. And for SpaceNet, I took the same design because I really like it, and yes, I continue on that direction.
So your first computer was a 486 with a monochrome screen?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean that was my father's computer, actually.
Right, but yeah, because in the 486 area, it's interesting, because in the 486 era, maybe it was different in Germany, but in the 486 era here, we had moved on to roughly EGA and VGA at that point. So it's kind of interesting that you had a 486, but with a monochrome. When do you remember when that was, out of curiosity?
Oh, no. No. I was too young. I don't know. I was maybe 8 or something, and 8 years old, and I think it was from 86, but maybe it was even less. I don't remember really. I just remember the screen, and for me, the screen was the computer actually.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. And that's totally fair. The screens were so huge, back then. Yeah, they're these folks. If you didn't game back in the 80s, especially the CRTs that came with that you had to get, they were as big as a television.
Yes,
they were these huge things, and my first computer actually hooked up to the television. It didn't even have its own monitor. You just had to hook it up to a TV. And it was not entirely monochrome. Like I think it had 4 colors.
Okay,
maybe it was CGA. I don't remember. Yeah, hey John, good morning. Yeah, those monitors, those old. But I grew when I would go to school. I don't know if you ever heard of the Commodore PET. Very old computer, and that's what my elementary school had. And those monitors were massive, and they were like this though. It was like huge monitor, but it would be easy to think that the monitor is the entire computer, which these days in some cases it is. But
yes, have a look to your smartphone.
It's a good point. That's a good point. This is entirely a monitor. That's a good point. Yes. I never really thought about that, but this smartphone is entirely a monitor. That's
yes. Funny.
So you learn. So I gotta say, even though the graphics are minimalistic and they evoke a certain time period,
very functional.
Very functional. What I was gonna say is, like my favorite game is from 1989, and it doesn't have much in the way of graphics, but it does a good job of whinging the imagination. Enough that you don't really need the graphics.
Yes.
And because your imagination in a lot of ways will do a better job than a lot of graphics. So I'm totally on board with that school of thought. And here, the graphics are minimal, but like they're just enough to give you a sense of scale, and they're just enough to give you a sense of place. Yes, and they also work well with the so far the puzzles I've played in the game, like they're not super complicated. They're relatively, like, I think the puzzles I've encountered so far involve a few switches, and in some cases you have to figure out which switches to throw to go to where you need to go. Like nothing on the level of Myst or whatever, where you want to throw your monitor out the goddamn window. Excuse my language. But I do have to admit, you've done a great job of not only evoking a certain time period, but in a way, I think that makes the game more accessible, because all you need is a mouse to play this, right? Like you don't even need really a keyboard. You just need a mouse, because you just
the keyboard's necessary, I think.
For what? No. I don't remember. I'm so foggy, because one thing I liked about it is basically, folks, you're clicking around action points, and those action points, as you can see on the screen, let you do different things. Sometimes an action point will have nothing there, which I think is funny. Honestly, sometimes an action point is just a transition to get you to other action points. Exactly. But some action points, if you double click them, you'll find something on the ground, which is very adventure gamey. You find a mailbox.
There's a White House.
Yeah, there's a White House. Exactly. Very adventure gamey, but.
No, Brian, I was going to say, you do kind of need the keyboard for some of it, like to input your name at the beginning.
Oh God,
yes,
that's true.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yes,
that's true.
And for the terminal.
For the terminal.
That's right, the terminal. I forgot. See, I apologize. I am so foggy brained this morning. I forgot about the terminal, and that's what I was getting at. I love how you mix a little bit of new school and old school in that. Like, you have a notepad, and it saves some things, like phone numbers and whatnot for the terminal. But it's not like a game log these days where it remembers everything for you. It's still, I appreciate that it's still old school in the fact that you still have to remember certain things, maybe write them down on an actual piece of paper like we did back in the day, you know?
Yes.
Because there were some times where I was like, wait, okay, I know I have to go over here and talk to this guy, but where is that guy? I got to remember where that guy is. Because the game's not going to tell you, you know?
Yes.
And there's no quest log or anything. Yes. It's just, okay. Go ahead.
That's the thing I really liked was when I was a child. It was the game that they couldn't do so crazy graphics at that time, so they put a lot of effort in the story and in all kind of things, in the personalities of the people, and also in the game itself, how it is how it's playable and so on. And it's something I wanted to go back to, because actually in the last years I lost my interest for gaming, because in the 2000 years, because I've seen a lot of huge graphic things, but nothing behind, nothing inside, just graphics, amazing 3D effects, but no stories and nothing really interesting. And I remember when I was a child, that was the fascinating part, because I had this world and I can go inside and do things, but then I really need to actually remember things and maybe draw a map on a piece of paper to remember things, where they are and things like this. So you go into the game in your real life even, and that's definitely a thing I wanted to go back with SpaceNet.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
What do you remember? Like the games you grew up with, that like the adventure games you grew up with. Do you remember any of them?
Yes, of course. I mean, the most important was Monkey Island.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes, yes.
I mean the whole LucasArts palette, so collection. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. When I was a child, it was so amazing, this Star Wars universe, and I don't know. It's like I started with all this stuff at the same time, and actually in SpaceNet I tried a little to put all this nice stuff together, which I really enjoyed when I was a child. So it's a science fiction game, but it's an adventure game at the same time, and especially this adventurous stuff. I mean, Beneath a Steel Sky and so on, and I just love them all. And yes, for SpaceNet, it was kind of, the idea was to bring everything together. So like this space feeling, but also this adventure feeling.
I have to admit, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. Please, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Yes. What I want to say about these action points, it started actually because I wanted to release the game on touchscreen, also for Google Play, and so that was I don't know. I was thinking about how to create an adventure game which is usable with a touchscreen, and it was a kind of challenge. And that's why the design it is like it is.
Is it on the Play Store?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense for a touchscreen. What I was gonna say before what I was gonna say when I sadly interrupted you is that I actually got out of adventure games after a while because they became so much of a pixel hunt. Like eventually they started getting just less in story and more about puzzles and the hunting for that one pixel that would get you the handkerchief you needed for that puzzle 3 rooms back. I started losing patience for that sort of thing.
Yes.
Which is why I especially appreciate your game, because you don't have that that kind of pixel hunt. It's much more straightforward.
Yes,
which
yes,
I
definitely.
really appreciate.
That's good. That's really good. I mean, it's one reason is because of this touchscreen ID, and the other reason is I figure out that nowadays the people, they are lazy too. I don't think so. Especially the young people. I mean, we are more passionate because we know maybe all the game were in the past, and so looking for things and trying things like these 9 verbs from Monkey Island, trying every verb on every object. But I thought maybe I would like to simplify the interface as much as possible, but at the same time to keep the feeling of I'm trying around things. So that's one reason for these action points. So we have these action points, and these action points do everything. This is an action point to walk to, but you can also have a look to, and you can also use things on it, and you can also talk to people with it. So it's like,
it's very efficient. Very, very.
Yeah, it's very functional. I think you nailed exactly what you were going for.
Yeah.
With that UI, because the usability of it it's very simple, very accessible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Brian. Which key have you pressed right now with this weird menu? Which was
that accessibility menu. I think that was A. I hit A and that popped up. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Because I'm so used to WASD that I started hitting that kind of out of instinct. I didn't mean to, but I was like, I want to go left, and then I hit A because okay. It's like, oh wait, what's this menu?
Yes.
Oh wait, did you not know that was there?
No, I didn't know, and actually I should put it out.
Well, I'm glad I helped you find that.
Yes, that's fine. That's good. It will be away in the next version.
That's why. I mean, when I started Space Game Junkie, it was pure text because I thought I would have the time to write stuff, and then I got a full-time job, and I'm like, I should start doing videos like everybody else's. And so many developers have found the videos so useful because, like, I'll do things that they weren't expecting like that, and they're like, "Wait, what?" So as much like video is great, it's become maybe too big. Like too many people are doing it. I don't know, but like in a lot of ways, it's great. So I am quite glad for it. And that's the kind of reason why, because you didn't know that was there. That's because I hit A trying to go left.
All right, that's good.
It can be a mixed bag, I would say, because sometimes you're looking for a walkthrough, and someone will say, "Hey, watch my 3-hour video." There's your walkthrough.
Yeah, like that's true.
Maybe I just want a text to help me through this particular section, and I don't want to try to jump through 3 hours of video in one single video.
It really depends on what you're looking for. Like a lot of times, like if I'm looking for a certain thing, I'll lean toward text. But yesterday I was having a problem with my PlayStation 2, and I leaned, for some reason my brain went to the video, which was interesting. So I guess it depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
For me at least. And the video was kind of helpful. Like,
yes, definitely.
One of the tips, side note, one of the tips it told me was try playing your PlayStation 2 upside down. And that worked. Like, it won't read the disc really well when it's right side up, but upside down, no problem. What the hell, PlayStation 2 Slim? What the hell's going on there? I don't freaking know. So basically the story, I didn't get super far in the story. I got to The furthest I got for the videos I was making was the Space City. That was the furthest I got. But I really did appreciate the story and the writing because, let's just be honest, doing humor in a video game is tough. It's very tough. A lot of times it feels forced or cliched, and a lot of times it doesn't work. But this game, while not like, a huge, it doesn't lean hugely on humor. It has like a kind of a simple, dry humor that I think really works for the feel of the game.
Yes.
So how big is the story? Like, I don't know how far I got, but how big would you say the story is? Like how far did you when I tell you I got to that space city? Is that 5%? Is that 10%? Like how much?
Where are you in the city center? Did you went to the bar there?
I went
to the Space City.
No, I went to the ISC and I landed and I took the train.
Okay.
To the other area, and that's as far as I got because I went back and my ship was gone. I don't know why. I couldn't find. I couldn't find my ship anymore, so I kind of got stuck.
I hope it's not a bug.
I hope not too. The video of that will be out later this week. That's where I stopped because I couldn't find my ship, and I don't know if like they parked it somewhere and I just couldn't find it, or what. But no, I got to this. I took it was to the other area of the train in the ISC. And that's as far as I got. Spaz, how far did you get? You get farther than that?
I only played about half an hour or so. Okay. So I didn't get all that far.
So yeah, how big would you say the game is?
So, I mean, it's bigger. Definitely.
Right, it's bigger. Yes. I'm just
maybe
curious.
you are. I don't know. It really depends because it's like a try of mine was to make it non-linear, and so you can do many things. You have kind of different quests.
Okay.
So it's really difficult for me to say.
Oh, that's fair.
Where exactly you are because. You could be at that point. You could be in the middle of the game, but you could also be in 1 quarter. I mean, 25% of the game.
Oh no, that makes sense because, I thought of it that way because a lot of the adventure games I used to play, at least, were pretty linear. You know, they were pretty linear. There were like slight variations here and there, but for the most part, it was. Like, especially those old Sierra games. I don't know if you played those Sierra games. LucasArts games were like this too, where like you'd walk from one screen to the other and then one screen to the other. And so it was, and sometimes you could walk up and sometimes you could walk down, but most of the time you were walking left or right. And so that's why I thought like I'm this far in the game, but it makes sense that, you'd go in different directions and find different things. And suddenly,
depending on how you do things,
yeah.
Can you show me your inventory?
Oh, I'm not actually playing it right now.
Okay.
Now this is one of the videos I made. We used to play the game live while we were recording these, but it got so distracting. Like I would pay less attention to the guest and more attention to the game. And so like anyone listening on audio would just hear me go, I
was amazed. I was thinking how you are kind of multitasking professional.
No. I apologize.
It's always recorded video. Almost always recorded video.
Except there's sometimes when like we'll get a developer on and he's got a multiplayer game that we all can play at the same time. And so we'll do that. That's when we'll like actually play a game. Usually is when we're all playing. But for the most part, it's pre-recorded video. But I think most of the stuff, let's see, I dropped off the envelope to the guy. I don't remember what else that was the big thing I remember in my inventory was the last thing I remember getting was the dynamite to open up part of the mine on that first planet, Xylo.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the last thing I remember getting. But at some point I found like the coordinates of the space city, and so that's the last place I stopped at.
So I mean, I would say maybe one. How many SpaceNet nodes have you installed? And
0. And I've only found 2 gems. In fact, I just got to the part. No, sorry, I don't know how spoiler this is, but I just got to the part where it tells you how many SpaceNet nodes there are.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, there's 4 of them. I don't know what they are, but there's 4 of them, and they want me to install them. That's all I know.
Yes. So you're not too far.
Okay, good.
Actually,
no, I like that.
You explored a lot of the world, and it's good. But there are many things to do, and even maybe in places you have already been. And maybe you need to go back and do things.
See,
so it's really. I try to do it as non-linear as possible. Of course, it is not completely non-linear.
Sure.
But as an example, these SpaceNet nodes you need to install. You can do that whatever you want. So they are like special quests, and you need to install them all to finish the game. Yes, so it's mostly non-linear, but of course there are some things you need to do to come further sometimes. Bottlenecks.
No, I like that.
Makes sense.
No, I like that. Yeah. And I like that when you first look at this game, you might not think that exploration is such a big part of it, but it's a huge part of it. And
yes,
and I really appreciate that because I love exploration in any game. And the fact that, you give the player quite a bit of freedom, even from jump, but not only do you give them freedom, like so far, none of the puzzles, and I said this earlier, but none of the puzzles were like so complex you want to tear your hair out. Like when you're first captured, it doesn't take you too long to figure out, and maybe this is because of the interface too. It doesn't take you too long to figure out how to get the hell out of your jail cell.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate, like, it's not like simple to solve, but it's simple is not the word I'm looking for, but it's straightforward.
Yes.
Like
it will become more complicated. I really, that was not so easy actually to increase the difficulty on a non-linear game.
Oh yeah, no, I bet.
But the puzzle, they should be more and more complicated in the game. Yes,
which makes sense.
So at the beginning, it's really, really easy. And I was also like, I want the people to, because it's not it's a kind of new interface, so nobody knows how to play it. So at the beginning, I want to be really straightforward. So the people, they don't get upset and they shut down the game. I really wanted to keep them so playing. So that's why at the beginning the puzzles are easy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because there really aren't any other games I can think of that use this kind of action action spot system that you have.
Yes.
To keep, and it's kind of interesting because you see a screen, you're like, this is all I have to do with all these action spots. But then, like you said earlier, not every action spot just does one thing, and not every action spot is one and done. So there's it looks simple, but it belies a more complex game underneath the surface that has a lot going on, actually.
Yes. Actually, yes, it's true. And that was kind of challenge because I don't know, I've never seen that before, so I needed to develop it. So to figure out, is it playable or not? I'm still don't know how much people will like this interface. I mean, it's kind of new, and I don't know. I hope people will like it. But I don't know because I don't know any game like this.
Well, we liked it. If that helps.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, what's the best way to say it? I think it gives the player a lot of flexibility without getting in the player's way. Like,
that's good,
and it eases you into it as well.
Yeah,
because you are rewarded for experimenting, but your options initially are very low, so that you don't get too lost in its complexity. As you get further in, the options open up. You can do more things, but the underlying mechanics are still the same.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed, it doesn't really punish you for trying different things. Like, oh, I'm going to try this pickaxe on this thing. You don't like lose the pickaxe after that. It's just like, oh, it didn't work. You know, you're not really punishing. Like, some games will do that. Some games like, oh, pickaxe, the pickaxe broke. There goes your pick. Like, God damn it.
Yes. I mean, well, it could be a good idea. I might implement it.
Please don't. Please don't. I mean, unless there's a good reason for it, I'm not a fan of punishing a player needlessly. Like,
yes.
And so, like, I like the fact that your game encourages experimentation because, like, there aren't really that many well, at least I haven't encountered any, but like, something just won't work. You won't lose anything, you know, by trying something. You know, the game will just tell you that's not a good idea, or that's not going to work. You know, that's all. That's all it'll tell you. So,
I was going to say maybe it might be fun if you have items that don't exactly have a use.
Yes,
they don't belong to any puzzles, and you might try them with something, and then you lose that item. And you might be wondering, oh, am I going to need that later? But no, it's just a joke item. It's a red herring. You've lost the item, but cold. It was.
That is cold, man. But
if the text tells you, well, I guess I wasn't going to use that this time around, something to that effect, because it indicates to you that it was a useless item and you lost it.
I mean, there were games that, like, if you lost something, if you found a thing like in the first 5% of the game and you lost it for whatever reason, you can't finish the game.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's what I'm suggesting is not a punishment.
I know, but that's what I think of when you bring this up, is that I think there was one adventure game I played like back in the day where like I lost a pencil or something, and it's like I learned later I never would have finished it because I lost that one thing. And it's like, why design a game like that?
I don't like it.
I don't either. No, I don't either. Right. No, but some people do. Some people like these are the type of people who play Dark Souls games. Like, they enjoy the punishment. Like, no, that is not me. I do not.
But yes, I don't like it neither. So SpaceNet is not like this, and it's one of the biggest rule I learned from Monkey Island was exactly that. So it is so funny because you can't do mistakes. You can't get stuck somehow. You can always, it's all right what you are doing. So you can try everything. And for me, it's kind of really important thing in adventure game, not to have any dead ends, or like you cannot go further. You are stuck because you lose something.
That makes sense.
I don't know. It's like, of course, your ID is quite good to have useless items, and then to break them, and then the hero will say, "Oh, I don't need it anyway." So why not? I like it. I like some. I would like to add some more things. I just released the game. It was I worked on it for 4 years actually.
Wow.
It was a huge thing. Yes. I'm a hobbyist programmer, so I do it when I have time.
Right. Is this your first game?
No, but it's my first real release, I would say.
Oh,
your first commercial game, would you say?
Yes, the first commercial game. The one before, the prequel, I finished it too, and there's the two only games I finished. and otherwise tons of other projects never finished. But this one I finished it. But I really would like to but I really would like to continue putting more stuff. So I'm really happy if you have good ideas. Definitely.
Well, did you say the other game you made was a prequel to this?
It kind of, yes. But I it's a secret.
Okay.
I mean, it is available actually. It is you find it on itch.io and even on Google Play. It is called SFIO, and it's really, really basic. And if you like, I can tell you the story about this, because this was the game when I was thinking about I want to learn programming. So this prequel, and then I started doing the game, creating it, and all the graphics and everything. And I made so many mistakes while programming. So it was awful. I finished it. I found it.
I found it on itch.io. SF.io. Yeah. I will definitely link this. Let me just put it in the chat too. I'll definitely link this in the podcast post so people can check this out as well.
That's good.
Oh, it is on Google Play. Look at that.
And actually, this first game, it was horribly programmed, and I managed to finish it. It was okay, but then I had the feeling, okay, I learned so many things.
Sorry.
I made so many mistakes while programming. I would like to do it properly, and so I started to develop things, to do some abstractions and everything. All the mistakes I made to create a kind of new game engine, to redo it one day, and but I haven't planned to finish it. Actually, it was just like, okay, no, I know my mistakes. I want to do it properly, and that's it. But then it was the birth of SpaceNET, actually, because yes, it became better and better, and then it was so nice. I could start really creating this world, and it was well programmed. And then I just continued, and then now I release it. So you will see, if you check the prequel, you see there are a lot of shared graphics.
Yeah.
But yes, it's really, really different. You see the huge jump forward between the two.
What did you build this game on? Was it Unity? Like
the engine? No, it's like. And I started. I wanted to start programming and to learn how to do it, and I was looking for something easy. And I'm like a Linux user, and I was looking around what's there. And actually, I found an engine called RandPy. It is actually made for graphic novels, and. But I don't know. I was like, okay, well, give it a try. And then I thought, actually, it's funny. You don't really need to do graphic novels. You can do other stuff, and everything is just there and fine. So you can. It was a really good start to learn programming, because it was not frustrating at all. I just could start doing some dialogues and put some variables and change things and create some really simple functions, and it worked. And it's so I started programming SFIO, the prequel. And then when I wanted to do it right, I learned Python in the meanwhile, and I was thinking about, okay, maybe with Pygame. But since I didn't want to create a new game, I just wanted to do some proof of concepts for the new programming things. I continue writing it in RandPy. And so actually, SpaceNet is written in RenPy, and it's not a graphic novel, but it's a really nice adventure game. But yes, and when I when I was I don't know, maybe at the middle of the game or something like this, I figured out many really really nice engines like Godot or whatever I could use, and but it was too late. So like
yeah.
I didn't want to rewrite everything from scratch, so I finished it on that engine. But if I do my next game will not be on this engine, definitely not.
I have to admit, it's also impressive how, like, maybe because of the graphics or the engine, but like, it's not a big game. It's what 160 some megs. That's it.
Yes,
it's so small compared to so many other games. It's so small, but it has so much in there. But one thing I appreciate is even though you have a lot going on and you have text and everything, like there's never too much text. I just realized, like, you're not reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. Like, you're again, I'm going to use this word, efficient. You're very efficient in the writing of this game. Did that take a lot of work? Because like so many games like just pile on the exposition, and sometimes you just don't want that. But with your game, it's like most things are a few sentences, and that's it. And so I'm just curious, did you purposely work toward that kind of efficiency in writing? And if so, how much work did that entail?
I mean, not so really actually. I don't know. I was really, I wanted to do programming, and since I developed this game alone, so I had to do everything. I had to write the dialogues, and I had to do the graphics and the sound and everything. And actually, it was like writing text just an annoying part somehow, because it is really easy to do. But it has to be done. So I kept it short somehow. But actually, it's good. Yes, I like it too. But sometimes I'm asking myself if even not enough. So maybe a little bit more context be fine. Maybe I will add some more in the future. But it works for now, so I'm happy about this.
Yeah, I don't really think you need to, because like it's an art to say a lot with a little. You know, it's an art to use words and language efficiently.
Yes.
Like one of the best books I wrote on ever read on writing basically said try and say as much as you can with as few words as possible. And that's hard. That is really hard, because like it's so easy to say something in 10 words that you could have said in 3. You know?
Yes.
So I really did appreciate that.
Yes.
What was it?
I mean, about the size of the game, you know, I don't know if you remember, but these old games like Monkey Island, I played them again now on Scum, and I'm so amazed. It's a couple of megabytes, you know.
Yeah.
It's like...
No, I hear you. The game I've been playing a lot, it's called Starfleet 2, and it's from 1989. And it's like this whole space war game with fleets moving around. And it's like got a million moving parts, and it's all random generated and all this stuff. It's like 3 megs.
Yes.
Holy crap. Or Starflight. I don't know. Did you ever play Starflight?
No.
Oh, okay. It's one of the best space adventure games ever made. It came out in 1986 on 2 low density floppy disks, 5 1/4 low density floppy disks, which are 384K each, I think.
Yes.
I
44, I think,
yeah. So, but it was a whole galaxy of planets and alien encounters, and it just amazes me. Like you'll see some games today, like Call of Duty 4 won't fit on the PlayStation 4 hard drive. It's like, holy crap, what? Why?
Yes,
Why are these games so big?
Yeah. That's a huge amount of data, and I don't know. I'm really still impressed about how they managed in the past to create such huge universe and stories and text with sound even of a couple of floppies. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's amazing what they crammed into the limits they had. It's just really amazing, and I think even with our better computing and whatnot, I think indie gaming, like you and others, kind of keep that alive today.
Yes.
Because so many indie games aren't that big, like so many indie games I play are less than a gig,
Yes.
Like there was a little side-scrolling game I played the other day that was like 86 megabytes, which just like, I remember back in the day when I first got my 20 megabyte hard drive, my first hard drive. It was 20 megabytes. Like I could put every game I own on this.
Yes.
Just going to copy every floppy over to this hard drive.
As just another example, there's Loop Hero, which recently came out, and as you probably know, I play a lot of it.
Yeah, that game is great, and it's so small.
It's only 136 megabytes.
Yeah, it's so small,
and I have 21 hours in it.
It's great.
Wow,
it's great. Yeah, I've only put maybe an hour or so in it, but I'm like, because everyone's talking about it, like, what's the big deal? And then I played. I'm like, oh, this is actually is actually really good.
You can see why I'm hooked. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it's one more run, one more loop. You got to do one more loop. It really does that really well. And in a way, SpaceNet has that because as I was playing, I'm like, got to get to the next area. One more area. You gotta get to the next area.
Yes. Yes.
So
I mean, in terms of data, the biggest things is the sound actually, and the music. That's mainly the main data. Yes, and then the graphics, and then the code is really, really small. Yes.
Yeah, but that's good because again, you especially with data caps and stuff, you got to keep your stuff small. But like, it also shows an efficiency of programming that a lot of people still do to this day, which is what we're just talking about. Like games don't need to be 80, 90 gigs to be awesome.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, if you... Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, if you download it, I don't know, like if on your phone or something, and then I don't know, it's there. So, you click install, download, and then I don't know, 1 minute later it's there and you can play, and you don't need to wait tons of hours. So I like it. I'm going to
download it. I didn't know it was available on the phone as well. I'm going to get it on my phone and see how it plays. I'm insanely curious. See how it plays on my phone, because
it was designed for it. So it's a kind of
no, I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. There's a couple of SpaceNet things on the Play Store. There it is. Okay.
That's possible. I don't know.
The first one looked like some kind of utility, like some kind of space, like hard drive space utility or something. I didn't really look at it.
But you're cleanup, I guess.
Yeah, something. Okay. Are you looking at it too, Spaz?
No, I'm just guessing. Just by the way you're describing it, it's like a disk cleanup tool.
Let me see if I can. Let me see. Oh, it's a shopping tool. What the hell is this?
Oh yeah.
It's a shopping tool. In French? Is this French?
Is this telecom things finance? No. Where are you?
I'm on the Play Store and I typed in SpaceNet, and the first thing that comes up is a thing from MCOM, and it looks like some kind of shopping app.
Okay, wait. I will have.
But there's one review. And it looks
yes, MCOM.
And it looks like it's in French. So
okay, I don't know it.
But I'm installing your game on my phone right now because I want to check this out. I am done.
That's good. There is a demo too. So
no, I just bought it. I mean, it's $6 freaking. You know.
Yes.
If I have a job, you know, I mean, I can afford $6 freaking.
Cool. Thank you.
Plus, you know, you were kind enough to give me a key for the Steam version so I can review it. So, you know, it's the literal least I could do. You know?
But that's really nice, actually. Really, really nice.
Installing right now. I'm dying to try this on my phone.
It's funny because I'm totally new. Also, I the first commercial game I released, and the first time I released on Steam, and I'm like discovering all these communities and like your Space Game Junkie, and it's really amazing. So I don't know. I didn't know all this stuff exists.
Oh crap. That's the game on the phone, you guys. Jeez, okay, that's loud. I hope I didn't just wake up my wife. I think she's awake already. I'm definitely gonna try that later, though. Once I know we're both awake. So this is your first. How are you finding the experience on? How are you finding the experience of releasing your first game ever, first commercial game?
It's really interesting. I mean, it's really our own parallel world somehow. I didn't know so much about. I mean, even Steam, it's huge, and it took me 2 months to get it on Steam, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's like really, really complicated. But it's all good because afterward, when you've done everything the right way, then you've got it on Steam and it looks everywhere nice and all the graphics are done. But you need to create tons and tons of graphics and things, and especially with the taxes in the United States, and do some papers, and they need to be reviewed and whatever. So it was a huge process. But I'm really happy because actually on Steam, I have the feeling the whole world is meeting on Steam, and the other release platforms, they are just like side projects.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Steam is the juggernaut. It really is.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy. And then I was when I released one day after the release day, I was I got another flow of emails from I don't know, mostly spam from I don't know, pseudo curator people from wherever.
Yeah. That is a thing where they'll be like, "Hey, can you give us 50 keys?" So,
yes, exactly.
So we'll stream your game. We have a huge community. Let's give me 50 keys and we'll stream your game. It's like, okay, lackadaisical@gmail.com. Yeah, I'll give you 50 keys for your non-existent Twitch channel. Sure. Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Yes.
So many developers have complained about that. That's why I'm so glad I have an actual email address.
Yes. But that was so weird because at the beginning, I was new, so I didn't know. And I didn't know about all these curator programs from Steam and things like this. And it was like, whoa, what is going on now? And okay, I had the feeling they are all some kind of spam. But I didn't know, okay. And so somewhere hard to know if it is spam or not. So like nice people asking for one key, and they had some, I don't know, some websites. But at the end, I had a lot of research on the internet, and I figured out, okay, Steam has a curator connect program, so you can choose your curators as a developer. So and that's the way to go. So
yeah, that helps Steam get out of actually curating anything themselves.
Yes,
because they are terrible at doing any kind of curation on their own. Because they don't care. They don't.
No, I think they care. It's just
you think they care?
I do. because it hurts the bottom line if it shows that they don't. So they've been giving more tools for how to for example, filter your searches. And they've been using the I think it might still be in beta, the recommendation tool. You know, you go through and say, "Oh, I've played this. What other games are there like this within this released within this time frame?" And you can filter that and get some results out of it.
Oh, really? Oh, that must be. That's a new thing because
that's a new. Last year I think is when they started to push it out there.
Oh,
and
right.
So they're putting out some tools for that, but again, it takes some work on the part of both the curators and the consumers, the player end.
Yeah,
to find these things.
That's why I was saying it's really brave, I think, to be an indie game developer today because there's so many games coming out. It's so easy to get lost in the shuffle.
Yes, definitely.
Which is one reason I'm glad we exist to help filter at least the space games out and help people find good space games. I'm very glad we've at least carved that niche out for ourselves. And other people do the same thing with their little like Explorminate and all their other smaller creators that have found a good niche for themselves. And
there are other streamers that do too that cover some of the same games we do, which is cool because
no problem.
It means there's more people talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we want these games to sell. That's what we want. We want people to find these games and buy them. And it's funny when I started Space Game Junkie almost 10 years ago now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's been around a while.
All right.
There were no new space games coming out. Like Space Pirates and Zombies was the first new space game to come out in a while that wasn't from Eastern Europe. And because
it's a game I helped beta test.
Right, but for over a decade, the majority of space games were coming from Russia or other Eastern European countries.
That's interesting.
At least on PC, there were a few on consoles, but
that's true. There was like Battlestar Galactica and Dark Star 1, but like on PC, it was almost all Russian stuff. So in 2011, like hardly anything new was coming out, and now it's just it's almost a deluge of news. Right. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. James, why do you blame consoles? Blame consoles for what? What do you blame consoles for, James?
For the drought in space games?
The drought in space games? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, that's part of it. It's part of the equation. It's not the whole equation. But consoles did have a big part in moving people away from having joysticks. They move people toward like gaming on the TV. It definitely leaned people away from PC for a while, and it also, because of how much more accessible games got, it definitely put more complex games like Free Space and whatnot on the back burner for a while. So consoles had their role, I think. It wasn't the whole. Yeah. Wasn't the whole part of the. Yeah. It wasn't the whole.
I think there was more of a. It hit a point where early 2000s the companies that were actually producing games, that were publishing games, not developing them, they made the shift away from
they totally did, because there were space games weren't selling as well anymore, like because Free Space 2 and X-Wing Alliance, they weren't huge sellers compared to the space games that had come before them. And the companies saw that, people are playing these games more now. We're going to lean more in this direction. And that's what happened. But it's a completely different thing now. So yeah, consoles had their role in the decline of space games, but it wasn't the whole part of the equation. Like people just... It was also people became less interested in Like Free Space 2 was a flop. Free Space 2 is one of the greatest space games ever made, and it was a complete and utter flop. You know, and that you can't blame that entirely on consoles. You know, that's just people didn't want it anymore, and I think there was a saturation point as well. I think people were like, another one, so which I find hard to believe, but I think people did get a little oversaturated with them. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that led to it. It wasn't just console games. Anyway. So it is about time for us to wrap up on that tangent. Yeah. So, folks, the game again is called SpaceNet. It is this top-down intergalactic adventure game that is, as I like to say, lovingly retro. And you can find it on both Steam and the Google Play Store. It's also on itch as well.
Yes. And Game Jolt.
Oh, Game Jolt? Okay, I didn't know that one. I don't go to Game Jolt very often.
I would say if you're of a certain age, it's a love letter to your childhood.
Game Jolt?
No, the game. The game is a love letter to your childhood if you are of a certain age. Because
yes,
yeah,
that's very accurate. Yeah, yes. Definitely. It definitely harkened back to the 80s for me, which is a good thing. But yeah, the game is on Steam, itch, Game Jolt, and the Google Play Store. It is quite a lot of fun. Like I said, it looks simple, but it definitely isn't. There's a lot going on. And it's, like I said, it looks, you look at it and you're like, this is all there is to do, but no, there's a lot to do. It's just a very efficient design. So go definitely check it out.
Get the demo.
Yeah, there's a demo. That's right. There's a demo.
Yes.
So because we did a morning podcast, we're switching things up. We're doing a stream this afternoon. It's been a year today since I started streaming Starfleet 2. So we're going to have kind of an anniversary stream today. Probably starting around 3. I'm going to start a little early. So we're going to do that today. Thursday. What are we playing Thursday? I don't even remember.
Unrailed.
Unrailed, yes. Oh, that's going to be fun. Thursday for our co-op LAN party, we're going to be playing this co-op game where you have a train and you have to build the track for it as it's moving. And it's very chaotic and it looks hilarious. It's called Unrailed. And then next week on the podcast, we're going to welcome back the head of Egosoft to talk about, I don't remember his last name, but because I'm so fuzzy, we're going to welcome back the head of Egosoft next week to talk about the new X4 expansion, Cradle of Humanity, as well as the big, huge 4.0 patch, both of which are dropping today, incidentally. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, James. Very kind. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us today and for listening and for having a pretty active chat. Thank you, Mozgron, for buying the game. That's great. Please don't let it derail work on your awesome game. Taxinaut is one of my most hotly anticipated games, sir. So please keep working on that. And with that, folks, we will bid you a good day. Have a safe day. Have a great day. Be safe. Be well. Take care of each other. Love you. And we'll see you back here in about 8 hours, roughly. Roughly about 8 hours. We'll be back here for some more Starfleet 2. Have a great one, y'all. Bye.